That's right. That's
You
right. That's
know,
what Winston
if
Churchill said.
everybody loves you, something's wrong.
I agree.
I tell you, I know all
One,
about it.
2, 3.
And hello today. We have in our studios, as usual, at this time of the day and year and month and day, because we have Don Trelkas, who is the Director of Safety Services, and has been in the city longer than you would believe. How many years?
It'll be
have you been
4
here?
years. 4 years next month.
Doesn't it
Time
seem like
flies.
yesterday?
It does. It does. I'm halfway
Time
through.
flies. Yeah.
Halfway there.
Absolutely. Well, there are so many things, and speaking of children and the fact that you do have children that you have taken under your wing, you and your wife.
Yes, yeah.
And thank God on their behalf, because there's so many more needed, so many more. But you are an example, really, you are.
It's my wife, Lou.
Well,
She
I
coerced me
might have
into it.
known. But at any rate, that brings us to a couple things. I know summer is coming, thank God. Spring is on its way, and then summer's going to come.
We hope.
We hope. But there's also maybe unnecessary worry, but it just seems like there are so many more things facing our children now, and every week, every month, every year, something else comes out, and it seems to always be harmful. And the other flip to that is that the parents don't seem to keep up with, so they don't know what the kids are doing or
Right.
what they're taking or what people are giving them. So that's kind of in the menu of what I hope you'll speak about.
Yes,
Chief.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can have a good conversation on that. The thing that concerns me, and we've talked about our children before, what concerns me is how some of our children will engage in an act of violence at the drop of a hat, literally a drop of a hat, at a look. Or
Just
a
like
word.
that.
Yeah, and that concerns me. And that's behavior that's not being instilled in the home for whatever reason. And you and I have talked about it so many times that as adults, we need to be getting involved in the lives of more and more and more and more children, because we need to teach them those values, or somebody does, some
Somebody
adult.
will put it there. If you don't
Yeah.
use that spot, they'll just fill it up with whatever nonsense comes along. They don't know any better.
Right,
And
right.
even when they're old enough to understand, there's a lot of pressure. It's no fun if I just go do it by myself, but if I can get 2 or 3 other people to come with me,
Right.
yeah.
So
and
we've been-
that buddy stuff, can kill you.
Yeah, and we've been, we've had so many successes in Waterloo with the crime rate and with it going down. But I'm concerned of a flare-up. Flare-up this summer. I mean, we've already made it through the first quarter of the year without a homicide. That's a blessing.
But we've
except
had some shootings, though. haven't
we've
we?
had some shootings,
Yeah.
yes. And I'd love to see Waterloo not have a single homicide. That'd be a nice start, or that'd be a good progression, I should say.
Yeah. Well, it has a lot to do with, someone was just telling me they read it in the paper, I haven't seen this myself, but I'm gonna look it up. They were saying that Waterloo has been voted by the people who do the ratings for where you live in the country.
Mhm.
We're the 34th worst place to live.
I saw that, and
Did you?
that makes
Okay.
me angry,
And
because
how can they do that?
yeah, it's a bunch. First of all, it's a bunch. The information they're using, the data they're using is stale data.
Oh.
In the article, they're saying we took these numbers from the FBI Uniform Crime Report from
That's
2012.
just what they said.
Baloney.
Yeah.
The numbers were 2009 or 2010 numbers.
Oh,
And I get so
wow.
tired of, and sadly, I saw my own employees. I saw it posted on Facebook, and they were sharing it on Facebook. And I call it that perverse pride.
Right,
I mean,
isn't it?
some people we're perversely proud of some people are perversely proud of living in this city because it has that tough attitude and that tough image. And some of the officers are proud because they have to police this community.
Right.
And it just annoys me, it frustrates me, because Waterloo isn't what so many people outside our community think it is.
And
It's-
what so many people who live here think
Yes.
it is not. And it's very negative. You would think that if you lived here and you know what goes on here and the causes and some of the crimes and things that we face, because there are children, our grandchildren, who are, they're not isolated from these kinds of things happening. So I felt like, Chief, we were really coming up the ladder and out of where we had been about being so hard on ourselves.
Right.
Let us stop
Yeah.
talking about each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And there's enough good things that need to be done.
And there's many good things happening.
And many good things happen, but, you know, and the person that told me about that 34, thank heavens, at least they were upset. You know,
Good.
and
Good.
I don't like that.
Because we are the most diverse city in the entire state. Some people look at that
We're
negatively.
proud of
I
that.
say,
I
I'm
know.
proud of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's many more issues, issues of violence per capita in Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, Council Bluffs, Sioux City, Davenport. You know, I hate to kick them down, but everybody thinks we are the worst in the state.
Oh,
We are
yes,
not.
yeah,
We're
we are the
average.
worst. I
We're
know
average
how.
and we're making it better. And here we're the most diverse city in the entire state. And
Isn't that something?
we got so much to be proud of.
I would think that we would be proud, but you know, as you said, summer is coming on. We don't know what that might bring, but we kind of have an idea that we went through this more than once.
Yes.
Do you feel like, can you put your hand on anything? Are we just slowly slipping backwards?
No,
I
I'm
don't get it.
optimistic. I'm optimistic where we're going. We're still having our acts of violence. We're going to have the acts of violence this summer, I'm afraid, but they're happening less frequently. I'm just concerned about, well, a bullet shows no discrimination. Yeah.
No name.
You may shoot, you know, typically our shootings they're people who know each other, and, you know, if you hang out with people who carry weapons and use them recklessly, chances are you yourself could get shot. My concern is that 2 or 3-year-old child sitting in the living room watching TV, that stray bullet's going to hit that child. And we've had that happen before. We had a poor young lady just standing at a kitchen sink and gets hit and killed by a stray bullet.
Just like that.
Because guys are shooting at each other.
Well, Chief, would you tell us how the cuts that are coming for the fire department, police department, and summer
Yeah.
get my, yeah.
Well, there is
How is that going to affect public services, first of all?
Well,
And if we are thinking that we're getting ready for some kind of a jump off, how will that affect things?
you know, sadly, they will be felt. We're trying to do all we can to minimize the impact, but there's a cause and effect. We had a meeting at the police department yesterday in regard to the staffing challenges we're going to face. I just left a meeting at the fire department in regard to the staffing challenges. And we don't know exactly what we are going to do yet, but it's services are going to be impacted. Yes, it's only 3 positions, but something's got to give. I mean, I like to say, and I had said it, we're 1 position away in each department from a crisis with, but we realize taxes, we want to keep taxes in check too. I disagreed with the cuts, but I did tell the council, I said, I'm a good Marine. If that's what you decide to do, we'll do the best we can with it. However, there are going to be there's cause and effect.
Yeah. And people always, like, they'll blame you and your, you know.
Right.
Never thinking until you need the service. You know, then you may not like the police, but you want them to come anyway
Well,
and try and save you or whatever it is. And then we go right back to what we were doing before. So will this be, if my house catches fire, it might burn down instead of, could have been saved by the fire department?
It will.
Is it that deep?
It probably will impact response times minimally. There will be, now our response time at the fire department now is around 4 minutes. There's going to be some situations where it could be a 5-minute response instead of a 4-minute response, depending on availability of personnel at a station and the location of your home. If let's say I'm a marathon runner, and I run it in 3 hours, for example, and then I lose a toe.
Right.
I'm not going to be able to. Yeah, it's just same with these. Somebody might say, "Well, gee, you just lost your little toe. You should be able to run that marathon just as fast." Well, no, there's cause and effect. That's one of the examples we're using. Even though it's only 3 positions in each department,
That's a lot.
There's-
I mean, what will be lost will be a lot.
Yeah, yeah. But, we're doing the best we can. The comment I made to my staff at the police department and with the fire department is, boy, they're going to let's see how good of managers we are.
Okay.
We'll do the best we can and try to keep a smile on our face.
Mhm. Well, things maybe will get better before they get worse. That would be good. If somehow we could put the brakes on before we get there.
Right, right.
That's usually doesn't happen, but we can work for it. We have to do more than wish for it, but we can work for it. I mean, if you've done the best that you can in every direction, then people should not, I don't care who it is, people should not feel bad. But when you haven't done anything, said anything, that's a different story. Because
Right.
that means we looked for someone else to dump it on, so we wouldn't have to accept any of the responsibility.
And even though, my vision, and I've shared my vision on the show before, let's build our tax base. Let's start filling this footprint. And it's happening, slowly and surely. I mean, I'm excited to see where this city's going to be in 10 years. There's a lot more we can do, I mean, especially on the northeast side here.
Okay,
With filling that footprint.
Right, this is a good place to ask a question. What the public doesn't know generally, because they don't have a reason to, unless they're maybe interested in property or something like that. But how will this affect where we live? What we expect of our public services, we want it to stay the same.
Right,
Or
right.
get better. So why are you laying off, people are going to say, and the first fire that comes or whatever, there will be, great wailing and hollering and carrying on. But that same energy could have been used before the fact.
Right, right.
And so, it's the doing of the work that moves us along. The talking is easy, but it's the doing.
What frustrates me is it sets a negative tone for people who want to come into the city and develop.
Right.
That negative tone
And then
gets
we meet
set.
them at the door saying,
Yeah.
I just I just have that feeling, I just hate that idea that we are slipping in some ways. I mean, we talk about what's happening down at the riverside, we're talking about the sportsplex, we're talking about housing, we're talking about all those things that help
Yes.
to make the community what it is.
Yeah, there's so many good things going on in the community. It's amazing.
It is amazing, truly.
There's apartments are going up across the city because there's a need for housing. Across the county, the population's going up. There's development, there's progress. We're not regressing. We're not regressing at all. We just need to keep pushing forward, and I'm optimistic. And like I said, 10 years from now, it's going to be fun to look back and see how much has happened in those 10 years.
Right. But I know that you've been here, as we said, 4 years, and there has been some things that have changed along the way, combining services and anything. Any regrets about any of those things?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all, because I was even asked a couple weeks ago, did I ever regret coming to Waterloo? And I haven't at all, because it's been exciting, it's been challenging. There have been the challenges, but I feel like so much has been accomplished. And once a year, I get to address the entire police department. And I told them, first of all, I told them we're going to start expecting more out of them because we have so much work to do in this community to make it better. But I said I'm confident that when I decide to leave my position, that it's like I'm confident in saying I'll have left the organizations, the police and fire department, in better shape than when I got them. And I'm not belittling or diminishing the work of prior police chiefs and fire chiefs did. But I just have a different style, and we're accomplishing stuff. And I'm not some great mind or genius. I just feel like I let people do what they need to do, let the employees do what they need to do, but give them guidance, give them direction, and hold them appropriately accountable.
Exactly.
And you accomplish great deeds by doing that.
Right. The Waterloo that we see now, people going downtown and going out for dinner downtown.
Yes.
Waterloo.
Yes.
The shopping malls, the new one that went up near Crossroads. Just all kinds of things that are going on. Not more than 10 years back, I
Right.
can remember nothing was happening hardly. You know, we just began to try and figure out what to do and how to do, and I think we did, but then we got tired too soon.
Well, we get,
We didn't have the laurels to rest on that we thought.
we get anxious and we don't realize the progress that has been made.
Exactly.
Because downtown's a great example. I mean, from what I heard 10 years ago,
Yeah.
there was nobody
There was
downtown.
nobody downtown, it was a ghost town.
And now it's becoming vibrant.
Mhm.
You know, you can just feel it, you can see
Very
it.
much so. Very
It's
much
good
so.
when we have people complaining that they can't find a place to park downtown.
Yeah. Well, you know, people always want the best of everything
Yes.
regardless, but when
Yeah.
it comes time to pay for it, that's another deal.
And there's actually plenty of parking downtown. You just
Yeah.
may have to walk a little bit.
Yeah, and maybe more, not more than a block or something
Right,
like that,
right.
yeah, yeah. Well, Chief Dan Trelka, 4 years in Waterloo, has seen the changes, since he has been here, knew what he was coming into when he did come, and he almost has his own little industry because of the children in your life
Right.
that you've given a chance, and now you and your wife both. That is a significant modeling of what needs to be done. It is so critical that our children may go to a dozen foster homes in their lifetime.
Right.
You know, and it's easy to talk about it, but it's another. Share with us, because I know you like to do this.
Mhm.
Share with us what you and your wife do and what motivated you to do it.
Well, we have a foster home, so we have foster children come into our home, children in need of care. We adopted 2 of our foster kids, and they're both from the area. And truly, it is my wife more than me. She took me by the hand and said, "Listen." Actually, that was the deal we made with each other. I said, "Listen, I want to take this job in Waterloo." And she said, "You can take the job if I can do foster care."
Wow.
I said, "Okay."
Okay, you're
And,
doing it. Yeah.
and because we truly believe that as adults, responsible adults, if we truly want to make a difference in the world, we all adults I'm talking, need to get more involved in the lives of children, because we don't want to see these children end up, have them become adults and end up in prison or end up dying a violent death, or, you know, there's, if we just wish more adults would start getting involved in more of these children, because it just breaks my heart when I see this 16-year-old young man involved in a shooting or dead because of a shooting.
Yes.
And I think this kid had so much potential, and it was stolen from him, because all it would have taken to have them survive or not go to prison would have, if 2 responsible adults would have gotten involved in that child's life and stuck with them. You know, we know so many adults, or so many kids that don't have 2 responsible adults involved in their life to teach them the values they need to be successful, because that parent is a drug user or an alcoholic, or just doesn't care and isn't responsible, or is in prison, or is in jail, or was a homicide victim themselves.
Right.
And we truly believe in trying to break that cycle, so that
Well, you know, there's plenty, the village that we love to talk about our village, but we're not putting enough effort into restoring. The village can be restored
Yes.
if we start to parent our children. That's where that comes from. You know,
Right.
that's where the foundation is laid and so forth. And we have just let that go for some reason, you know. Everybody talks about it's a new generation, and I'm saying that's what I'm afraid of. But who produced it? Who produced this new generation? We did, the grandparents, and that's all, of course, this doesn't apply across the board, don't want anybody to think that, but just the fact that the village worked.
yes,
It
yeah.
worked. There was love and caring there for children in the neighborhood. They didn't have to be yours. And now people are almost afraid to be around teenagers or something. You don't know what they'll, you know, they'll talk, and you don't know what they might do to you, and all that kind of talk, instead of where we should be
Right.
with our children. It's more than a notion.
There's a lot of work to do,
Yeah, there is a lot of work to do.
but we can't give up. We just gotta keep plugging away. We can't lose hope.
We cannot, because we're already in bad enough shape. Can you tell us another thing before you leave today? I saw this in the newspaper, I didn't read it all, but it has something to do about, we're gonna be charging people.
Yes.
More is this for speeding, for red lights, for parking, for what?
Yeah, well, first of all, myself and a lot of officers in this state feel that some of our traffic fines have gotten kind of high. And I'm going to give you one good example. Last summer, and I drive a police car. It's an unmarked police car, but it's got sirens, it's got lights. People can tell it's a cop car. And I can be sitting someplace, like at a red light, somebody will blow a red light as I'm sitting there, and everybody around me is looking at me like, are you going to do something? So I do make the occasional traffic stop.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped a car out on the 4-lane highway last summer, very hot day. It was about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's a comical story, but it stresses the point and the concern that some of us have. But I pull this guy over for tailgating. He's driving aggressive, he's tailgating. So I pull him over, and it's a guy who works construction. Keep in mind, it's humid. The guy had worked like crazy that day. I'm sure he's trying to get home. And I walk up to the window and I said, I swear I smell alcohol. Have you been drinking? And he said, well, yeah, I just opened a beer. Mm-hmm. And well, that's a violation. The tailgating is a violation. That open container in the vehicle is a violation. So a uniformed officer comes over, and the uniformed officer says, Chief, what do you want me to do? I don't know how to write a traffic ticket in Iowa. You write them on a computer, you got to pull up some databases, you got to get on the right database. I can fire up my computer, but I can't access the databases. You need to issue a regular citation in the state of Iowa. So I told the officer, I said, why don't you, well, first of all, we'll put him through roadsides, make sure he's not intoxicated. He was not. I said, give him a ticket for the open intoxicant. And I went on my way. Later, I ran into the officer and I said, I'm curious, how much did that ticket cost that guy? And it was either $300 or $330.
Oh my goodness.
And I said, you gotta be kidding me. I said, I thought that poor guy's gonna have to work 2 days to pay that fine. But on the flip side, we have 1,700 last year we had 1,700 accidents in Waterloo with 400 injuries and 4 fatalities. So we've got to do better than that. Waterloo's got to do better than that in knocking that down. Because our vision at the police department is to make Waterloo safer. But I don't want to hang people out to dry for some of these violations. So I came up with this new process, and it's allowed. The state allows you to do this. We have case law supporting it. But instead of getting that $200 ticket or that $300 ticket, if you've got a good driving record, if you haven't had a violation in the past 2 years, if you're sober, if you have insurance, let's see, you're an area resident, we're going to extend this courtesy to you where you'll get a $100 ticket. It'll simply be $100. And the way we got to that point is the fine for these typical traffic violations is only $90, $100. What makes it so expensive is the court cost and the fees that get added for using the court system. And we said, listen, if you just pay this $100, we're not going to need to utilize the court systems, so we won't need to charge you these fees for such. This won't go on your record. It's our way of cutting you a little bit of slack, but still holding you accountable. Because I'm afraid, and I see this happening across the state. I mean, everybody who's driving in this city sees it. We see people blowing red lights. So it's for blowing red lights, going through a stop sign, speeding 5 to 15 over, following too closely. And again, you have to have a good driving record to have this courtesy extended to you. It's a problem in Waterloo, especially the red light. If you're sitting at an intersection downtown, you see it all the time.
Are the lights longer than in other towns? Because it just seems like to me there's a couple of places in Waterloo you need to leave home 5 minutes early so you can get where you're going.
I think they're okay. I do a lot of traveling, and the lights, they seem to be okay here. And, you know, the experts, the engineers have them set the way they think is good for our traffic flow and for the safety of the community. But I think across the state, officers in the state of Iowa, they're not even, when they see these red light violations, when they see some of these violations, they're not even stopping the people anymore because they're saying, I just don't want to hang that big ticket on a person if I decide to write them a ticket. So what I'm hoping is this is going to encourage the officers to do the job that we're supposed to do. I mean, we have to stop, we need to do a better, we had 1,700 traffic crashes. That's too many. We need to do better in conditioning the public, but we also want to be compassionate to the people that we're stopping. I'm calling this compassionate accountability. What's funny is I've taken heat from both sides. You know, people are saying it's all fine and dandy until some kid gets killed in a crash. Well, and on the other side, people are arguing it on the other side. Yeah, I'm not going to please people all the time, but this is good for Waterloo, I have no doubt, otherwise I wouldn't pursue it. I'm amazed that the entire city council supports it, all 7 of them support it, with questions and reservations, but ultimately they're willing to back this up. It'll be, third reading will be Monday. We'll probably start using it June 1st or July 1st. I want it to be simpler for the officers to issue. Because I told the officers, I said, I want this to be so simple even I can write one. So I won't have to go to the special state databases to utilize it.
I'm laughing because I'm in the same condition myself. But anyway, at one point, Chief, we had a conversation about cameras.
Yes.
What happened? Did we get them? Are they
watching
us or something?
No, we didn't. It seems like the state is, the state officials don't seem to like them very much, is my impression. And some state officials would probably like to see them banned outright, which is a shame because when I came to Waterloo, I was against traffic cameras until I learned about it. Because I didn't like the fact that you were getting a ticket without contemporaneous face-to-face contact with an officer. I had some constitutional concerns about it. But then when the chief in Cedar Rapids at the time, Chief Graham, showed me their statistics on how it improved their safety on 380.
Wow.
And that convinced me. I said, holy cow, I mean, wow, you've saved lives. They can literally show that less lives have been lost with the speed cameras down there. And if you know... So
Cedar Rapids uses it?
Yeah, Cedar Rapids.
I think they've had it for a while, too.
They have. Actually, I got one in Muscatine.
Okay.
I 10 miles over, I was coming into Muscatine. From a 55 to 45, I was going 55 when I hit the 45, and got a ticket in the mail. I think it was $75. And my wife said, "What are we going to do about this?" I said, "We're going to pay it. That's a bargain."
Yeah.
I screwed up. I was speeding, and it's not going to go on my record. It's $75.
Pay it.
Just pay it.
Be thankful.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anything else? I mean, it's been such a so much. It seems like is happening. And the good and the bad.
Yes.
But I think we'd be remiss, as you know, I have a daughter who's in the Army, in the service, reserves, and the bad news that came across very, very early this morning about the person at Fort Hood, Texas.
Yeah.
I think there were 16 people who were injured, some of them critically, that they still haven't told us everything about that.
Yep.
The president stopped to take time to, you know, he just said it just breaks his heart to see that kind of thing. And then the man killed himself.
Yep.
A soldier who was suffering from, what do you call it, depression?
Yeah.
And some other things, and probably never really they were still in a stage of just beginning with him. I've heard people say they've been asking for help for years, and we're not helping our veterans like we should, so I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah.
We've got to do better than we're doing.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do, especially in Iowa. We need to do much better.
For sure. Well, as usual, our time gets away from us very quickly. Mark your calendars out there, and you people who want to talk to Chief Trelka, you can call him. If obviously nobody called in today, but if you want to reach him, what is your number, Chief?
291-3200 or 4332 is if you want to call me. The best way to reach me is to email me, trelkad@waterloopolice.com.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you very much. Glad you were here today. Hope that we said something or put something on someone's mind that will be a benefit. We'll see you the next time around. Chief, see you next time around.
Thanks, Lou.
Yeah, we've got to do something about our veterans, and it isn't because Tina's in the service, but how watch and send people to, it's not so much that you sent them, because most of them were willing to go,
Right.
but we have failed them coming back.
Right, yeah.
I mean, how can a person has given the most precious thing that their life,
Mhm.
and they come back. Do you know that the families of people have been on food stamps?